So overall this week Moby has been much more motivated. I am super excited to see his improvements. I can tell y'all have been doing work with him over the weekend, and we have started out this week on a really good note. So we started by trying to introduce another form of motivation for him, which is play and toys. So he's a pretty happy, pretty energetic, pretty bouncy kind of guy. So I suspected that he would probably enjoy a little playtime, and you can get a lot out of training while incorporating play. I do apologize throughout this video, my tracking camera was kind of struggling as we went from the bright outside to the kind of darker inside in the garage, but we still catch the vast majority of this training session here. So if you listen closely, what I want you to pay attention to are a couple of things when we're giving our verbal commands as well as our verbal markers. So first and foremost, we've already talked about when we say the word good. Good means that he is doing the right thing, he should keep doing it, and we're going to give him a reward for doing that behavior. So when he is in the heel position walking with me and I say good, he needs to stay in that position and I'm going to reward him in that position. The new marker that we are introducing today with the toy is similar to good. It's the word yes, and the word yes is similar because it means that he's going to get a reward. But the biggest difference is that yes also means he does not have to keep doing that behavior. So when I reward him with a toy, I can't expect him to stay in a sit position if I want to play with him. So when I say yes, it's essentially the same as saying good and free at the same time. So when you say the word yes, I tend to use it as a big, very exciting marker that usually encourages the dog to play, to come to me to get his reward. Basically a really big, high value, jackpot almost. So that's why when we talk about those markers, when we say good, we want to use food normally. The reason is my dog can stay in a position, take a treat, take some food, take some pet, and stay doing that behavior, whether it's a place stay, a sit stay, down stay, or if he's walking politely in the heel position. I can reward him while he stays in that position with food or even pet and praise, but it would be very difficult to try and reward him with a toy and play while he's trying to maintain a sit position or a stay position. So just kind of keep that in mind as we start to incorporate the good marker, meaning keep doing what you're doing, I'm going to reward you, as well as the yes marker, which means you can stop doing your behavior and you can come get your reward, or now we can start playing and bouncing about. Now, even after you've rewarded him with a toy or the big jackpot, we still don't want him doing anything inappropriate like jumping or butt nipping or anything like that. So don't be afraid to correct him if he still makes those mistakes while you're trying to play with him or reward him. So in this session here, we're starting to use some dog distractions. So you see on the left side of the screen, we have my dog Dakota sitting politely on her place bed. She is back tied just for safety, but she's a pretty good girl, so she's probably going to just lay down here in a moment. But as you can see, Moby's a little interested in her. He kind of wants to go over and say hi, see what she's about. But when we give him that place command, he's supposed to stay on place until we tell him otherwise, regardless if there's another dog present, regardless what else is going on around him. See there, Dakota just decided to lay down. And that's ideally what I want out of Moby as he stays on his place bed for longer and longer. We will talk about how this place bed becomes a little bit different in the long term and how we use it inside the home. In the short term, in the front end of the training and conditioning phase of this, we are managing heavily our dog's behaviors. We are constantly making sure that they are doing the thing we told them to do. They are constantly in some type of obedience command. They're constantly engaged in some sort of activity. But over time, we don't always want to have to micromanage every little thing our dog does. But what we're trying to do is create this conditioned mindset when they get on that place bed to just kind of chill out. We want him to go there and just relax. We were having this conversation the other day. You know, if you ever get home or you're in the middle of cleaning and you're getting stuff done, you're being super productive, but the moment you decide to take a little break and you sit down on the couch or your favorite recliner, and all of a sudden all of your energy is just zapped. You were on a roll, you were hitting it, you were getting all these tasks done, but the moment you sat down, all of a sudden, just wiped out. that is a conditioned response. And we want kind of the same thing from the dog. So, you know, we keep our place beds kind of around the house, and when my dog decides to go kind of sit down and chill out on it, all of a sudden he has this conditioned response to just relax. But we have to kind of build that conditioning into our dog for it to really be effective. Our dog's not going to just automatically go to the bed and lie down every second of every day, but it is available for us to kind of use as we need it. So if I'm cooking dinner, I can tell my dog to go to their place bed. And again, just having them go there should provoke that conditioned response to kind of relax. Or my dog can just choose to go lay down if there's nothing else going on. And again, you're still going to get that conditioned response. So here, you know, the place bed, like I said, it's a very simple command. It's very easy for the dogs to learn. So it's also extremely powerful. It's very easy for the dogs to be very successful at this behavior. So that's why we like to use the place bed when we first introduce distractions like other dogs, other distractions like things that might be scary, things that might be a little bit, you know, concerning for the dog. But anytime we start to up the distraction, we do like to use the place bed as the first step. After this, we will start to go into the other behaviors he knows as well, but that'll be in one of the next sessions. So I'm going to let you finish watching this session, and then I'll kind of talk through the next session when it starts up.
Place. Good. 5. 3. Place. Good. 3. Place. Good. 3. Place. Good. 3. Heel. Sit. Good. Drink water. Be free. Drink water. Be free. Drink water. Free. Go. No. Tail. Good. Easy to go.
Alright, so in this session, now we have 2 dogs on the bed. We have Dakota, who you saw in the last video, and we also have Alba. Alba is also politely just laying on her bed, so you can see both dogs there on the left side of the screen. Now, I didn't tell them to lay down, I just kind of let them choose to chill out. They can stand, they can sit, but again, the place bed is a place for them to be conditioned to just relax. So more often than not, they're going to kind of choose to lay down. Now, I might give her a down command just to encourage her to lay down a little bit. Alba is a little bit more of a high energy dog, so encouraging her to relax is something that I like to do often. Just helps keep her under control. And it also helps to keep from being too distracting for the dogs in training. Now, as we do a few passes in the heel position, you can see Moby is still very engaged. When we are healing, this is exactly what I want. I want him walking politely next to me. If you look at my leash is generally very loose as long as he's next to me. It only gets tight when he is out of the heel position, so either if he's too far behind me or if he's too far ahead of me, all of a sudden that leash gets tight and he starts to feel pressure on the leash. So one of the big things I want you to kind of pay attention to, and the reason why I have the volume on the video up relatively high for this, is because I want you to hear the delay between when I say the command versus when I provide him some help or some guidance. So you may hear me tell him to sit, and then there is a bit of a pause before I give him some help. So before I apply some leash pressure. The one thing you can't really see or hear is before I apply the remote collar guidance as well. And so what we're doing is I'm giving him the opportunity to do the behavior on verbal command only. So whether it's heel or sit or down or place, I want to make sure that we say those commands by themselves before we try to help him, before we start giving him some leash pressure, before we start using that remote collar. The leash, the remote, and everything else we do to help our dogs with these behaviors are just reinforcers. They are not required for the dog to be able to do the behavior. My dog should be able to do the behavior on verbal only, and he should understand that if he refuses to do those behaviors, then there's going to be some type of other motivation, i.e. he's going to feel leash pressure until he does the behavior. Or with the remote collar, he'll feel the remote collar until he does the behavior. The remote collar and the leash are used very, very similarly, which is why we use the remote collar as our gateway to off-leash, reliable dog training. Because my dog does the behaviors because he knows that after I say that command, the next thing he has to do is that behavior, or else there's going to be some sort of uncomfortable feeling, whether it's the leash pressure or the remote collar or nagging or whatever, until he does the behavior. So in the long run, it helps for him to be comfortable doing these behaviors without the assistance of those reinforcers. So I think it's here, we go into a down, we're starting to work on our down stays, and he gets a little bit scared of Alba because I think Alba like lays down or shifts and makes a weird noise, and he gets a little jumpy. But we'll kind of see that here. Now, Moby is a little bit skittish and has a tendency to kind of jump at things he didn't understand, like there. The important thing is that we stay calm. We help him understand that if something happens, you're still required to do the behaviors I'm asking. So I still want to encourage him to stay in that down position. I still want him to stay in the sit position, whatever my last command was. Now, I'm not going to bring down the hammer because he got scared, but it's important to understand that just because something startled you doesn't mean you get a free pass to kind of, do whatever you want. It means, hey, I get it, it was a little bit scary, but stay with me, basically. So after a little bit of a water break, we put him back in his kennel. Make sure we give him that kennel command, wait for him to go in on his own, or apply a little help with that leash pressure or even the remote collar. Alright, if you have questions, don't hesitate to give me a call, shoot me a message. Moby's super fun to train with, so I hope you enjoy it as much as I do.